All right, folks, welcome back. And today's episode is jam-packed with the crime headlines from all over the country. Just going to give you a few of the topics we're going to be discussing today. In California, Shannon O'Connor, also known as the Party Mom, is in the middle of her trial with numerous teens having testified over the past few days. We got the details. In Texas, a 12-year-old girl is rescued by police after being kidnapped while walking her dog. A true crime-themed restaurant in Ohio is eyeing expansion, but not amidst some loud opposition. We're going to discuss all that. We have an update rolling out on an arrest at that Carnival cruise line in the murder of 18-year-old Anna Kepner. Big time update there. Of course, a ton more on today's show. And before we get into it, a reminder, we have an expanded show, Crime Wire Weekly Overtime Edition.
Overtime.
Yes, Kelly. Kelly really wants some music for that one.
I want a buzzer, Jim.
Right. There you go. An overtime edition. This is only available to our individual Patreon members. This expanded edition will feature even more crime-related headlines, and some of that discussion may even cover just a trending topic. And that is one of the discussions we're going to have today. In addition to that, the Patreon version is a video version of this podcast. Pictures are edited in of the people and places that we discussed. It's just like a typical news broadcast, and it's also completely ad-free. So a bunch of added value there for our listeners. Now, if you are already a member of the Patreon for either Kelly Jennings Unspeakable Podcast or Exposed Podcast, you don't need to do anything. But if you are not a current member, you can check out the links in the description of this episode to learn more on that. So with that, welcome to Crime Wire Weekly. I'm Jim Chapman.
And I'm Kelly. Oh, I think I just hit puberty.
Yeah.
I'm Kelly Jennings.
Hello, Kelly Jennings.
Hello.
How was your weekend?
It was fantastic. My husband built me a brand new deck, and I love it.
A deck?
A deck. He did. He built me
like a sun deck?
No, he built me like a walkway. Like if you were going to like a nature thing, like at like a park or something, you know, it's kind of raised and it's got lights on the side of it and you can walk on it.
Oh, that's cool.
It really is cool. I love it.
Awesome.
I love it. He did a great
job.
Go
walk on your deck one day.
It's beautiful. Come walk on my deck.
I will do it.
God, I just sounded 40. I felt it. I sound old. Apologies.
All right, let's get into the crime-related topics, and we're going to start off in California, and a jury is hearing from teenagers who have testified about being victims of a California mom, and she is facing dozens of charges after allegedly hosting secret alcohol-soaked benders in which high school freshmen were encouraged to engage in sexual behavior at her family's very swanky mansion. This lady had some money. Mm-hmm. Shannon O'Connor is on trial after she was slapped with 63 charges stemming from her alleged involvement in throwing alcohol and sex-fueled parties for minors. This is during the 2020-2021 school year. O'Connor, who has been dubbed the Los Gatos Party Mom, hosted chaotic alcohol-soaked benders primarily for freshmen at the high school in 2020, with the first experience with alcohol for many of these freshmen leading to overconsumption, vomiting, blackouts, etc. The house was described by prosecutors as a place for children to engage in sexual conduct, and that the defendant groomed those children, normalized sex, encouraged hookups, and sexual behavior. O'Connor allegedly served as the only adult supervising the parties, and these parties were hosted up to 5 times a week. Prosecutors allege O'Connor used her son's status on the school's football team and cool mom reputation to communicate daily with the freshmen through Snapchat without their parents' knowledge. On Tuesday, one female minor identified as Jane Doe number 6 testified the social environment at the gatherings were misogynistic, while corroborating prior statements from the victims alleging O'Connor pressured teens to sneak out of their homes to drink heavily and hook up. Jane Doe number 6 reportedly went on to allege her best friend, a 14-year-old girl identified as Jane Doe number 4, experienced symptoms of depression depression and alcoholism after being sexually and physically abused by boys at that party. John Doe number 7 would touch her in front of everybody, Jane Doe number 6 told the court. It was bad and it was weird. The young girl reportedly went on to testify that when John Doe number 7 drank alcohol, he would act violently towards the girls at the party and that no one reacted to it. On one occasion, Jane Doe number 4 was sitting in O'Connor's kitchen in her swimsuit when John Doe 7 began to punch Jane Doe 4 on her leg. Lee wrote in court documents that O'Connor was drinking a glass of champagne and laughed as she watched. John Doe number 7 stood over her, continuing to kick her legs and stomach, all while O'Connor was sitting in the kitchen. Jane Doe number 6 told the prosecution that her friend was totally alcohol dependent and had to take shots of alcohol before she could leave the house. The mother of Jane Doe number 4 also took the stand this week and told the court that her daughter first visited O'Connor's home in the fall of 2020 to work on a school science project with O'Connor's son. Quote, "It all seemed normal in the beginning. She was an innocent kid. She never dated," the mother said, adding that when she dropped Jane Doe number 4 off at the house, it was a very fancy, beautiful home. O'Connor's son seemed to be a nice kid. After the child made several trips to the home, however, the behavior changed, the mother testified, and added her daughter acted really tired and closed off. Jane Doe number 4's mother went on to add that she confronted her daughter after noticing bruises on her body, but her concerns were brushed off. One night, the mother noticed Jane Doe's breath smelled like alcohol and told her, "No matter what it is, I will help you." The mother added her child felt a lot of shame and was trying to escape. Another mother reportedly told the jury in previous testimony that she 100% trusted O'Connor. "As a mom, I have guilt for not seeing the signs sooner," and O'Connor has pleaded, of course, not guilty to the charges.
I think I have so many thoughts here. You know, you come at this from a parent, you look at this from a legal standpoint, you look at this from a social, emotional, standpoint. And the fact that she allowed, first of all, tell me you weren't cool in school without telling me you weren't cool in school, that you would need to be popular amongst teenagers. I have no desire ever to be popular amongst teenagers. You know what I mean? Like, right. It seems like arrested development.
Be the cool mom.
Yeah, like on Mean Girls. I'm not a regular mom. I'm a cool mom. When she's like, offering alcohol to her daughter. Uh-huh. And that's what made the show so ridiculous, is that that's absurd. But then what happens here, too, is that these girls go over there, and boys, too. I'm not saying the boys weren't, involved in this, but the girls go over there. They want to participate and have fun in a party. I mean, I'm thinking from a teenage viewpoint. I want to. This is cool. Oh, hell yeah. We're being offered alcohol. But then things happen. And I think the key word here is shame. You feel shame because you know that you weren't supposed to do it, but you never thought it was going to go that far, or you never expected it to become what it did. And then of course, you would become closed off. You don't want to tell your mom that. You don't want to let your parents down that you were behaving in this way, when the reality is your parents need to know so that they can help to protect you. That right there is the worst type of adult in a society full of teenagers.
Yeah, it really is. And a lot more serious to me than it comes off, because the issue here is both of us have kids, and I'm sure many of the people listening have kids. And in our cases, my kids are in college now, but they're not super far out from high school. I remember those days. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you that I, as a parent, would feel like an idiot, number one, if that was occurring. And I was basically, these are freshmen in high school. So you are allowing every bit of this. It ain't like this is seniors and they're supposedly going to spend the night at someone's house and they're drinking over there and you don't know. These are freshmen. Yeah. These are really babies.
Like 14, 15 years old.
Yeah. And so everything they do has to be seen through by a parent. And 5 days a week? What? That's not a clue?
I know. It's like a club. Like you're throwing.
That's crazy.
This is some Epstein, like not obviously Epstein's, way off kilter, but this is kind of how that shit starts.
Yeah. And you're giving someone else's kid alcohol. You don't know if they're taking medicine that alcohol may affect that. People don't think that far ahead, but what if they're on like an antidepressant or something?
Or what if.
And you're giving them alcohol?
Yeah. Or what if these girls would have become pregnant?
Or that.
You know what I'm saying? These could have become very, very long-term consequences beyond the scope of just you're being an immoral adult here. So I hope they throw the book at her. I know these parents feel horrible that they let their children go there. And she needs her ass beat too, but I didn't say that.
Well, she definitely does. I agree.
Allegedly, I'm not going to say
By
that.
Kelly Jennings.
Yeah.
Kelly's going to go beat that ass.
I'm on my way. One-way flight. All right, now let's go right here in our backyard in Livingston Parish, Louisiana, because this is huge. Federal prosecutors indicted 2 men who are illegally here in the United States on charges related to possessing more than 360 pounds of methamphetamine following a traffic stop on Interstate 12 in Livingston Parish. The bust occurred on Saturday, February 7th, 2026, when a Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office deputy pulled over a vehicle on I-12. A subsequent search revealed a hidden compartment containing approximately 164 kilos, which is about 360 pounds, of methamphetamines and $7,100 in cash, 2 digital scales, plastic baggies, and rubber bands. Louisiana highways are often used to transport narcotics from cartel operations towards the major distribution hubs, and in this case, the narcotics were headed to the streets of Tennessee. On Wednesday, February 11th, a federal grand jury in the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Middle District of Louisiana indicted Justin Antonio Orena Romero, who is 22, a citizen and national of Honduras, and Ed Nilson Alexander Castaneda del Valle, 22, a citizen and national of El Salvador. Both men face charges of possession with intent to distribute more than 500 grams of methamphetamine. U.S. Attorney Kurt Wall described the seizure as one of the largest methamphetamine busts in Louisiana. Just because you're not in Miami or New York doesn't mean that the tentacles of the cartels don't reach you, Wall said, noting that the operation appears to involve cartel activity. He thanked the Homeland Security Investigations Team and the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office for their work. Livingston Parish Sheriff Jason Ard praised the swift federal indictment and the proactive efforts of his deputies. He highlighted the significance of removing such a large quantity of meth from the streets, potentially saving lives, and expressed relief that the law enforcement priorities align with the aggressive action against illegal immigration and drug trafficking under the current administration. The suspects remain in federal custody following the indictment.
Huge, the largest meth bust in the history of the state of Louisiana. 360 pounds. And, I talked to the sheriff yesterday about this, and that is about $6 million worth of methamphetamine. And, you just don't see busts like this. In this case, interesting that you mentioned it wasn't headed towards where this bus went down, which was Livingston Parish, Louisiana. It was actually headed to Tennessee, and the interstate that runs through Livingston Parish is like a hub for people coming from Texas, going to Florida or Tennessee or wherever they're headed to deliver these drugs.
Right. They call it the I-12 corridor because it's really, you have to come through here to get from point A to point B. Now, because I'm a total nerd, I looked this up. Okay. I was curious how many hits that would be, because that's a crap ton of methamphetamine. And so according to what was done online here, so the weight conversion of 360 pounds equals 163,290 grams. If a common dose, now someone might argue this, but if an average dose or a point is going to be considered a 0.1 gram, okay, that basically means that amount could contain roughly 1.63 million hits of methamphetamine.
Jesus.
That is... And
off the streets. And
off the streets.
That's a huge deal.
From a traffic stop.
All right, let's go to, we're going to go to Ohio for this one. Okay. And there's a lot of true crime fans out there. Obviously, if you're listening to this show, that kind of lumps you up right at the start as a true crime fan. So I'd be curious to know what y'all think about this when I'm done. A macabre dining concept that serves historically accurate recreations of executed criminals' last meals is expanding despite growing backlash, with critics accusing the restaurant of trivializing the suffering of victims and turning serial killers into menu celebrities. The Last Meal, Billed as America's only true crime podcast themed restaurant, first opened in 2025 inside the Ohio Museum of Horror. This is in Galeon, Ohio. It quickly gained national attention for its unusual menu, where dishes are named after infamous death row inmates and served on prison cafeteria-style trays, while true crime documentaries play on the walls. Now co-owner Nate Thompson is bringing the concept to a second location in his hometown of Monroe, Michigan, at the Mall of Monroe, with an expected opening in April of 2026. Now, I'm going to give you a menu straight from Death Row, and this restaurant's offerings are based on documented final meal requests from prison records. Guests can enjoy items such as the John Wayne Gacy, which is a 6-piece fried chicken wing bucket, fried shrimp, French fries, and fresh strawberries. The meal requested by the serial killer, of course, convicted of murdering 33 young men and boys before his 1994 execution. You can also order the Ted Bundy, which is an 8-ounce sirloin steak, eggs, hash browns, toast with butter, and jelly, plus coffee, milk, and juice. Bundy declined a special request and received the standard last meal. The Eileen Wernos, which is a smash burger with cheese and onions served with coffee and tea. Or you can even get the Timothy McVeigh, which is 2 pints of mint chocolate chip ice cream, the Oklahoma City Bombers' final request. Other options include quirky or small meals such as the fried bologna sandwich with mustard, which is linked to Bonnie and Clyde. Themed cocktails, including one inspired by Charles Manson, are available, though alcohol was never permitted, obviously, for last meals. And sides like Bundy fries add to the branding. Nate Thompson, a 29-year-old filmmaker, father of 5, and co-owner with his fiance, said the restaurant is not meant to glorify the crimes, but to offer a documentary-style immersion into a slice of criminal history. Quote, "We don't want to highlight the crimes they committed, but it's history, and we want to, almost like a documentary, get you as close to understanding those last moments and last meals of these people. We're trying to be as tasteful as possible with an idea that will definitely ruffle people's feathers." He added the menu balances appealing feeling meals with odd and quirky ones, and noted that a portion of the profits support victim advocacy foundations. The restaurant is attached to a horror and true crime museum featuring skulls, taxidermy, and memorabilia, allowing guests an immersive and, for some, unsettling experience. Thompson has long planned the Michigan location, saying the Ohio spot was an opportunity that came up first, and the new Monroe outpost at the Mall of Monroe will feature popular items from Ohio, plus some other types of dishes. Now, on Fox News Gutfield, political strategist Aaron McGuire expressed discomfort, saying, "I have no interest in eating in the restaurant where I have to select where somebody on death row decided to eat." The last meal taps into the surging popularity of true crime content, from podcasts to documentaries to themed attractions. And Thompson said he's grateful for the support of those who embraced it, but acknowledges it may not be for everyone. So what do you think? I love it. I'm going to tell you straight up, I would eat there in a heartbeat. That sounds fun.
Yeah. So I think when it's attached to a museum of that nature, I totally get it. Right on theme, right on par. Putting it in a mall, though, the second location, I will say it does seem a little distasteful to me. But then again, I'm a victims first. That's always been my motto on my podcast, too. So I get it. The fact, though, that he offsets that by donating money to a portion to victims advocacy groups, I love. I think that is fantastic. And so, I think this is just one of those, different strokes, different folks. If you want to go, go. If you don't, don't. All right, guys, let's go to Galveston, Texas, where we're going to have every mother and father's fear unlocked immediately. A 12-year-old girl in Galveston was quickly rescued from a hotel room after she was allegedly kidnapped and sexually assaulted while walking her family dog. On the evening of January 30th, 2026, when the girl left home around 7 p.m. to walk the dog, she never returned. When the dog came back home alone, her family immediately became concerned and reported her missing to the police around 8:30 p.m. Galveston police used an emergency ping on the girl's cell phone to locate her at a hotel just a few miles away. Officers responded to the location, obtained surveillance video from hotel staff showing the suspect entering with the child, and forcibly entered the room. The girl was rescued approximately 3 hours after she was taken. She told investigators that 27-year-old Graham Michael Dunn of Dallas had forced her into his car, taken her to the hotel, given her pills, sexually assaulted her, and recorded the assault on his phone. Dunn was arrested at the scene and charged with 1 count of aggravated kidnapping, sexual assault, and 2 counts of aggravated sexual assault of a child. He's being held without bond at the Galveston County Jail. Galveston Police Chief Doug Bali detailed the sequence of events at a press briefing, noting that the family dog's return home alone was crucial in prompting the rapid missing person report. The child was reported missing in the evening of January 30th. Police believed the girl was walking the dog when she encountered Graham Dunn, who had pulled up in his car. Dunn allegedly got out of the vehicle and forced the child inside of it before fleeing the area. Detective Hector Dominguez confirmed the charges and praised the swift coordination that led to the rescue. The girl was safely returned to her family. Her identity has not been released due to her age and the nature of the case. Authorities have not released additional victim details about the investigation or any potential connection between Dunn and the victim.
Total heroes there saving this girl. You know, there's a good chance that she never would have been seen again had the police not acted so quickly. Within 3 hours of this event, of course, went just through horrificness prior to that, but could have been much worse. She could have been killed and probably would have been killed.
Thank God for that dog. Because obviously that was her reason for going out, and that cell phone. And these animals, dogs, we got to give them a lot of credit. I watched a video yesterday that was really interesting. A kid had gone missing, a totally different case. They searched with helicopters. They searched everywhere, could not find this kid. All of a sudden, and you see it on body cam, this random dog comes up barking and then would run, and then come back, bark, and run. So the cop decided to follow him. Rando dog, the kid had locked himself in a car on a random property, and that's how they found the dog.
Dogs are perceptive.
Dogs are, man, they know.
They know when something's up and you're in a bind, especially when you're their owner and you know, they love you and all that. They're going to alert people to a problem.
I'm terrified that he obviously assaulted her, but gave her pills. Like, oh God, like, you know what I mean? Like, to make a kid, that's so scary. And what's even
and just out there walking your dog.
Walking
I mean,
your
you
dog.
can't. And you can't let your guard down as a parent for 1 second.
And I
anymore.
think this is great too, that the child had the cell phone on her. That's how they pinged her. That's how they found her. So maybe that's a note to note yourself if you let your kids go out and walk the dogs and they're by themselves, make sure they have a device on them so that, you know, if anything happened, we can try to locate them.
Right.
Man.
All right, let's go to Louisiana, and we're gonna go to the Lafayette area, and no matter how much I do these bad teacher cases, I just I can't even catch up to the ones that have already committed the crime, because every time I do one, another one pops up. Thousands and thousands. This is an absolute epidemic. I preach it every week. And right here at home, an hour from or so from where we're recording, Christy Oster, who is a 38-year-old 8th grade math teacher at Broussard High School. Now, this lady was named the school's 2025-2026 Teacher of the Year in September of 2025. She has been arrested for a second time on sex charges involving a juvenile. Oster was first arrested by the Lafayette Police Department in late January of 2026 on charges of carnal knowledge of a juvenile and indecent behavior with juveniles. Authorities allege she maintained an inappropriate relationship with a former student, and she was released after posting bond. Now, on or around February 3rd of 2026, Oster turned herself into the Lafayette Parish Sheriff's Office on a warrant issued by the Broussard Police Department for an additional count of indecent behavior with the juveniles. This charge stems from an alleged incident that occurred within Broussard city limits, but involves the same former student as the initial charges, according to police. She posted a $10,000 bond on the new charge and was released. Now, she taught 8th grade mathematics at Broussard High School. As I said, she received Teacher of the Year honors, which is a big deal. And following the initial arrest, the Lafayette Parish school system placed Oster on administrative leave. So, as I said, the charges include carnal knowledge of a juvenile, which, y'all, that typically involves sexual intercourse or related acts with a minor below the age of consent in your state, whatever that is. She also was charged with 2 counts of indecent behavior with juveniles, which in Louisiana, this charge often relates to like lewd acts that are committed within the presence of or with a juvenile. So you can actually have sex with an adult in front of a juvenile, and that's still considered indecent behavior.
And
in this case, it was actually with the juvenile. Specific details about the alleged incident, including the victim's age or exact nature of the crimes, have not been released for obvious reasons. You'll see this a lot of times with these cases that involve minors. Investigations ongoing, of course, but another teacher going down, man. Come on, teachers.
I cannot.
And not all, I do want to say this, 99.9% are awesome and great and would never even consider doing this.
Yeah.
But it's the 1% that makes everybody look bad, right?
I can't even, man, they should put current teachers on those juries for these bad teachers.
Yeah.
Because I cannot even fathom how it even gets to that point. Like, I'm teaching, when I was a teacher, bell to bell. I'm too busy to even have that cross my mind. Like, nor that it would, you know what I'm saying? But like, how did it get to this point? And even communication these days between teacher and student is through special apps and things now, so that we're not using our personal cell phones usually to communicate with these kids, because sometimes you do need to communicate. Don't forget your homework, don't forget to bring your project, blah, 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 blah. So
yeah, but they have those processes now where you communicate through the school's
That's what I'm saying.
system.
That's what I'm saying. We have those apps that the
Right.
schools endorse, and they say do not have communication outside of whatever.
Snapchat, Instagram.
Okay, nor should you.
Right.
Nor should you. You are a professional. Your job is to show, and this shows the disconnect between, or why there's a disconnect between society and what teachers actually do. Because you should be a professional. You should show up. You should be dressing professionally. You should look too old for these kids to even be interested in you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's an age gap. Like, what are you doing? And I just get so infuriated, because I looked at the children in my classroom, and I taught kids that were 19 years old when I was 23, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
That still
there
happens.
was a 4-year age gap between us, but I still looked at them as high school kids, even when I was 23.
And there's laws that say that regardless of the fact that they're 19, let's say, because you're a teacher and in a position of authority, it's
Yes.
still illegal and you can still get arrested.
Absolutely. It's actually, I think, an enhancement. It is. It's an enhancement charge, because they are under your quote unquote power.
Right.
So what's to keep you from saying, oh, I won't give you an A unless you do this?
That's exactly right.
But still, this is absolutely for shame. You're going after, I'm assuming, a male victim. I don't know that, but especially when it's a female teacher and a male student, it's, you're going after these hormones, are raging in these kids, and you're using your experience as an adult to manipulate this kid into thinking this is fun and cool. It's disgusting. Hey everyone, Crime Wire Weekly has moved to its own new channel.
We hope you've enjoyed this preview. To continue listening, please follow the link referenced in the description of this podcast.
Or simply search Crime Wire Weekly wherever you're listening.
And don't forget to follow the show so you can be alerted when new episodes drop.
Thanks for listening.